So today I'm going to show you how to sort information in ascending and descending order within a table in a Word document, and I'm going to show you how to use grid lines as well. Okay, so let me share my screen. And here I am in my ready-made table. As you can see, I have borders around my table, which makes it much easier for a reader to follow when the document is printed. If I just demonstrate this. Print. So you can see it's very easy to read. The lines keep the reader correct. Okay. On some occasions, you may choose to have your information without borders. So in order to remove the borders, go into design, table design, and we would say no borders. And there we go. Okay. So in this case, when we print the information, we see that there's no borders. It's still relatively easy to follow, but personally I prefer lines, borders around everything, because I think it makes it easier for the reader. However, the choice is yours when you go to present information in your workplace. If we do decide not to use borders, then it's really important that we have these faded grey grid lines on, because they make working on the page much easier for the person producing the table. Okay, there may be occasion if you don't have borders and you don't have grid lines, it can make it very difficult. So in layout menu, we have view grid lines, and as you can see, simply clicking on this makes the faded grey lines appear or disappear. So without grid lines and without borders, quite difficult to see where the individual cells within my table are. But if I want to use my grid lines, highlight the entire table and view grid lines, and that makes working in it much easier. I am going to put borders on my table though, because as I said, I believe it makes it easier for the reader, and that's what we have to think about. Okay, so I'm going to include my borders in here. There we go. I can also use different things. I could do shading in different cells as well. So shading, if I wanted to make this one maybe light blue, something like that, just to make the table stand out a little bit and look a little bit nicer. Okay, so that is grid lines and using borders. Okay, I'm also going to show you how to sort information, ascending and descending. At the moment, we can see this is in ascending alphabetical order, so it's going from A up to T. So within my layout, we can see here, this is the sort menu. So I'm into layout and sort. So if I wanted this information to be in descending order, what I would need to do is highlight. I will highlight the entire column, including surname, okay, including surname. And I'm going to tell it that I have a header row. Surname is the header row. And I'm going to tell it descending. So we should be starting at Thomas and working our way back to Armstrong. And as you can see, Word has now sorted that information in the correct descending alphabetical order from Thomas down to Armstrong. Equally, we can do this going back up the way again, ascending. So make sure I highlight surname as well, okay? Or surname, and this time we'll do it ascending. And yes, I have a header row. If I tell it no header row, it comes up invalid, okay? But we have a header row. And that means that it doesn't take the S for surname within the consideration for the alphabet for sorting the information here. We could equally sort in date order. Okay, so if I go in here in date order, rather than it's come up with date here, sometimes it will be on text. Make sure it says date. And do we want to go in ascending order? Yes, and yes, we have a header row. Okay, let's see, and that's an ascending date order now. You see, it takes the relevant information along with it. So these are not in alphabetical order anymore. We are now in start date order. So that's how to sort your information, either alphabetically or by date or by number. Now, in order to center information, if I wanted this row with student information on it to be slightly bigger, I would sit here until I get the double lines with the up and down arrow, and then using my left mouse button, hold, pull down, and I can make quite a large, deep row if you like. I can choose to center my information as it is in the moment with equal space at the top and the bottom, or I could align it to the top. I'm in the wrong cell. There you go. I need to set in student information and align to the top. There we go. Align to the top, or align to the bottom, or center. Okay, center. And equally, we could center across the way or right align. So right align, center, horizontally, or left align. In this case, I'm going to stay left aligned because the contents of each cell in my table are left aligned. And I just think it looks neater to be in a straight line. So that's centering within the cells and within the table. I could also, if I go back to my home menu and go to my layout and my page setup, okay, I could choose to center this entire table. At the moment it's aligned to the top of the page, so I'm in page setup, layout. I could center it within the page. Okay, once the computer catches up, you can see we have equal space above and below the table. So again, if I was to show you a print preview, you can see there's equal space above and below the table. Okay. And that's how you use grid lines and sort information alphabetically or date order, and how you center information both horizontally and vertically in Word in a table.